Yeah, it's interesting. There's no anger, but people can be polite and still vote against you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Most people, when you knock on their doors, and I've done it many, many times, they're very polite to you. They just want you to go away. You know, they get back to mowing the lawn or watching the footy.
Yeah.
You know, they're just very polite. Occasionally you get someone who wants to give you a piece of their mind, and often you prefer the peace of mind because you've got engagement. Whereas the polite go away and going back to watch the footy means you've got no chance of bringing them back.
You know, Andrew, if the Liberals do get a swing anywhere upwards of 4%, but if it's around 5%, or they pull off the win, the notion that Peter Dutton's unelectable will be wiped out. But I think it'll be a wake-up call for a lot of Labor people.
Well, I'm calling 4% a draw. So I think the Liberal Party needs at least 4% here. I still think Peter Dutton's got a fair few mountains to climb to get elected, that's for sure. Taking Labor to minority government, different story, and then it would be basically a two-term strategy. But it's hard to see from the national... I mean, you see governments behind mid-term and come back. These guys are still in front. The next election's looking like a huge mountain to climb.
I guess I think about Peter Dutton, though, holding that seat of Dixon for as long as he has, and it's a wafer-thin margin. I know it's one seat, but he knows how to do politics. When you've been a marginal seat holder.
Dixon knows him, right? He has been their member and he's visible in their electorate for a long time. He's not well known in Victoria, or at least the caricature is, but the bloke's not. And I mentioned this before we got on air, but I'll say it again to our viewers. I mean, this is a metro media market. So to send a message out there that this is the key message from the left, this is the key message from the right, let's get the vote out, because turnout will be an issue tonight. It costs a hell of a lot of money to get into a metro media market. If this was a country town like a Ballarat or a Bendigo or whatever, you can push those messages in on regional media. So it is harder to get a sense of Peter Dutton to that community and change their minds. Time in the job will do that, so he's got time between the next general election. But I'm interested in this comment over here about 4% is a draw. I reckon 3% is a draw. You know, 2.7 is the average. If you take out the Aston, which I think is an outline, you take out the citizenship margins, I think 2.73 would be where I'd call it a draw.
I've had 12 rate hikes and he buggered up over the Voice.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you can't get a 4% swing after that.
And we had votes arrive.
No. This wasn't a horror budget delivered by a government. This wasn't a government... I mean, yes, he's broken a promise, but he'd argue he's broken a promise to give you more money. This wasn't a government making really big, bad, tough decisions that people were hurting. This was not an austerity first-term government. He's throwing money at them. If he's throwing money at them and they're swinging away from him, that's a problem.
All right. I mean, there are two key messages here, right? So the Liberal message is send a message, and that's a pretty good one. Yep. You won't change the government, they're saying, but you can send a message. Well, I reckon that's going to get them 5%. But the Labor message is have a representative in Canberra to lobby for your local community. And critically, when they're approaching people in the polling booths, I hear they're saying, honour Peter Murphy's legacy. Yeah, so that comes into your argument in the sense that it is a respected former MP who's passed away. Do people take that in mind? Because if it was someone pulling the pin, spitting the dummy, Labor would be finished in this contest. We could give it away now.
Which we saw.
So exactly, and that backfired against the Liberals. So that's the other more than subtle difference here, Kieran.
And not and part of the reason why there's not a lot of anger, I guess people know that's why they're going to the booths, or most people would. Just a quick one before we go for a wrap-up of the campaign quickly. Nathan Conroy, no relation. He's at the top of...
Look, the donkey vote.
He's at the top of the ballot for our viewers watching nationally. He could benefit from a donkey vote.
Absolutely. I mean, traditionally, it can be up to 0.5%. Not always, but up to 0.5%. And if it's as tight as we all seem to think it's going to be, that could be the edge.
He's at the top and Jody Bellier's at the bottom. So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out.